Charles, are you ready? Ready? Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order for Lockport Township's monthly meeting for August. Start with the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming here tonight. We are going to start a little different tonight. We are going to do the town fund first instead of the road and bridge, so everyone's aware of that. We'll start with roll call of officers.
Yes, sir. Supervisor Ron Alberico.
Here.
Trustee Barb Boyce. Here. Trustee Dean Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Barb Laney. Here. Trustee Greg Bickus.
Here.
Assessor Mason. Here. Highway Commissioner Shalinski.
Here.
Attorney Gary Mueller.
Present.
And Forsythe.
All right. Thank you. Everybody should have in their packet received the minutes of the monthly meeting of July 10th and the workshop meeting of July 24th, 2017. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Laney.
I'll second it.
Second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. You have the bills of $120,635.11. I need a motion to pay the bills for the town fund.
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce.
Second.
And second by Barb Laney. Any questions on the bills for the town fund? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Bickus.
Yes.
All right. Next, we're going. One thing before I go too much farther with the bills, I just want to bring up a thing. Last month, you had asked, Barb, you had asked me about the $15,000, $500 check that was outstanding. That was a bill for the Park District that we pay. It's a combination of all the programming that we do with the Park District. Golden Agers, Young Timers, Silver and Gold, Park, Men, Senior, the Golden Agers, well, it's the same thing, but it comes to $15,000. You want that?
Yeah, just look at it.
Yeah.
So is this annually?
Yes, it's once a year.
Once a year,
We budget
okay.
it. We work with the Park District.
Okay.
And give you those programs.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving, I'm going to go a little bit out of line here. I want to run down the new business tonight really quick. We are honored here tonight to have Chief Dave Scory here from the Lockport Township Fire District. And after 37 years of service, he has retired, and I'm very envious of him. And I would like to honor him and have him come up here. To pass the resolution first or after I read it? I'll read the resolution. Hopefully this mic will pick me up. This is Resolution 2017-5, resolution honoring Dave Scory on his retirement as Chief of the Lockport Township Fire Protection District. Whereas Dave Scory attended Taft Grade School and graduated from Lockport Township High School in 1978 and began his career on April 14, 1980 as a firefighter, paramedic for the Lockport Township Fire Protection District, and whereas Dave Scory was promoted to lieutenant on July 26, 1993, battalion chief on January 5, 1998, assistant chief on January 1st, 2001, and fire chief on March 18, 2010. And whereas Dave Scory is an active member of several boards and organizations, and over the course of his 37 years of service has received numerous recognition, commendations, and awards, along with many letters of appreciation from the citizens of Lockport Township during his distinguished career. And whereas Dave Scory served the citizens of Lockport Township in addition to providing leadership to the firefighters and paramedics in the area of fire protection, operations chief, training officer, technical rescue team leader, and swift water rescue technician, and resides in the city of Crest Hill with his family of 27 years, and for 27 years. Not for 27 years he's lived in Crest Hill. And whereas Dave Scory, major accomplishments was being involved in the growth of the fire district personnel and the building of 4 new fire stations, and is responsible for the supervision of 86 firefighters, paramedics, personnel, 4 part-time fire inspectors, and 4 full-time clerical employees. And whereas Dave Scory is retired from the Lockport Township Fire District on August 4th, 2017, and has, during his 37 years of service, protected and secured the safety of the Lockport Township residents who reside in the Lockport Township Fire District. Now therefore be it resolved by the Supervisor and the Board of Trustees of Lockport Township Government, Will County, Illinois, as follows. Section 1. The Supervisor and the Board of Trustees of Lockport Township Government wish to express their heartfelt gratitude and profound expression of thanks to Dave Scory for his dedicated years of service to the citizens of Lockport Township. Section 2. The Supervisor and the Board of Trustees extend their best wishes to David Scory for a productive and joyous future, for his continued success in whatever endeavor he chooses. In Section 3, Lockport Township Clerk is directed to forward a certified copy of this resolution to David Scory and make the original of the resolution available to the members of the general public during normal business hours at the Lockport Township Clerk's office. Resolved this 14th day of August 2017. Congratulations, Dave. This is your copy of the resolution. And we'd like to present you with this draft of our service for the year.
Real quick, I'll just say thank you very much. You know, over 37 years, anybody who's been in Lockport for that time, you know, Lockport's a different place than it was 37 years ago. For a while there, we used to grow corn and beans, and then for a while in the 80s and 90s, we grew houses. So, it's got to see a lot of stuff, very exciting times. I feel very blessed, very lucky. I tell my family, you know, you're looking at the luckiest person alive, because most kids, they want to grow up and be a policeman or fireman. I got to do that. So, I'm very lucky, and thank you very much. It's always been nice working with all the boards in the council. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. One other thing I wanted to bring up before we move on really quick. We have one of our employees that did have a mild medical condition this past last week, and I just want to give my heartfelt prayers and bet that she's going to be good. She had a mild stroke. She is doing pretty good now. We talked to her. She actually came back to work today for a little while, so God bless her. And our prayers still for a full recovery. All right, next on the agenda is citizens wishing to address the board for the town.
Good evening, board, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, please state your name.
Terry Broadhurst, resident, investor in the Fairmont area, and local business owner also. I come before you tonight based on a couple of different issues that we've talked about in the past. It's been hard to get the information I wanted to get. I did get some. But before I go on, I wanted to just talk about this one item on tonight's agenda, the building report, approval of air conditioner and heating proposal. I was just recently doing a lot of work in the building here as far as research, and we just spent $20,000 or $25,000 on heating and cooling during the remodel. What did we miss?
I'm not here to answer questions, go ahead and speak.
Okay. And then moving on from there, it's just a couple of questions I was hoping I could get answered here. I'm trying to figure out, when we do bids on these big contract jobs that costed, that much, as much money as we spent here, are all those bids sealed?
Every one of
those bids are sealed?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. By law, do you have to take the lowest bid?
Lowest reasonable bid.
Lowest reasonable. Did you explain reasonable?
Most responsible.
Responsible, I guess. Yeah.
Responsible. So contractor-wise, how responsible they are, what kind of history they got, that type of stuff? Background, all that different stuff. Okay. And when they open these bids, is this done in a public setting? Is the public allowed to come and view the opening and when it's done live? Is that posted publicly? Is there like a public notice? Or is that put in the public notice when you're requesting bids to come in?
It's, when we put a bid out, a sealed bid, it goes into the paper asking for the sealed bid, so it's published. The bid opening is published.
Oh, that's what I mean. So the bid opening is published in the same
Right.
announcement. Thank you. I'm sorry for the pause. I'm just trying to go over my notes, folks. There's just a couple more questions I have.
Again, Terry, let me interrupt here. I don't want to become a question and answer thing. You have 3 minutes to go ahead and speak your mind, and we'll take whatever you're going to.
Well, if that's the case, then let me just go right on into the water board then. So, in the past, I came up and spoke about, no, this is not about the water, this is about the taxpayers. This is what the taxpayers are paying out of pocket based on what's taking place. There's some questions here that have been risen, not by myself, but also by members that are on your own board. And questions that are kind of not that easy to get the answers to. And now, we talked about transparency not only 2 meetings back, I believe it would have been the June meeting. I discussed that out loud here in front of you folks about transparency in the water board, and a month before that, me and you spoke privately, Ron, about it. And it seems to me that I thought maybe we could get together and have a workshop and figure out a better way to get more open dialogue on the water board, where it's just you guys. In all reality, in most circumstances, as we've discussed publicly, that's illegal. And so you guys have been given an exemption, from what I'm hearing, but that's only because you really didn't do the work to make sure it was done right. So one of the couple of the things that we're going to be discussing, and if you're only going to give me 3 minutes now, I mean, we could do this over and over every month, or we could try to rectify the problems. I personally have brought solutions to people and hope that we can move forward. But it almost seems like the more I request transparency, the more things are being done without nobody knowing. I don't know if anybody knows it, but we're paying $17,000 a month for people to turn off and turn on water. I mean, I looked at the specs in the contracts, but $17,000 a month to maybe paint a fire hydrant once in a while. Has anybody ever had a B-box cleaned out? I don't even know what that is. $17,000 a month for the work you have listed in this contract seems to me like it should be $17,000 a year. But here's even a better solution, Ron. Because you're the one who always tells me that this water's losing money and the taxpayers all around the township is paying for the additional cost, right?
I've never said that.
Oh, yeah, you have. You told me that personally, that it doesn't cover itself. Hold on, haven't you told me it doesn't cover itself? It doesn't pay for itself? It loses money? You told me that.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Well,
you know what?
is it losing money?
You need to address this with the water board.
Well, actually, again, this is taxpayers' business. This is not water. I'm not discussing water quality. I'm not discussing water meters. I'm not discussing anything about water. I'm talking about taxpayers' dollars that you're giving me. You're giving out contracts with no bid. No, there's no bid. There's not even a bid package to go out. The public notice? There wasn't even a public notice to pay somebody over $200,000 a year to babysit water. Now, I've been in the neighborhood for 4 years. You know how often I saw Larry, the water guy? Every 3 times a week. And you know what he was doing? He was shutting off water or turning on water. It took him about 15 minutes. He made $17,515 a month. That's your money. I could tell you right now, you could probably hire a full-time employee in-house for 45, maybe 50 to do all that work. And if you couldn't handle the building, you could probably pay another 20 a year for a part-time person to do the building. That would be 60, maybe $70,000 a year. Right now, we're paying $210,000 a year to do pretty much nothing. To sit there and answer a phone. Now, on top of that, the new contract you hand out wasn't to a water company, not to a certified water specialist. It was a bricklayer. He's a bricklayer. We requested a water company to come in and assess our situation, Ron. And you went behind closed doors and hired your friend.
Let me stop you now. 3 minutes is up. Appreciate all that you have to say. I wish you'd address the water.
These are the water issues, Ron. These are tax dollars. This is the tax issue, sir. Thank you.
I have the floor now.
I'll be back next month and we'll ask a few more questions. Ron, if you just do things right and none of this is happening, you shouldn't give away $210,000 without a bid.
3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all you have to say. It's not tax dollars that are...
That is tax dollars.
It's not.
100% tax dollars. It ain't grant money, it's tax dollars, Ron.
That's where you need to learn accounting.
No, that's where I'm, Ron, when I filed for my Freedom of Information Act, I got smoke and mirrors. I didn't get none of the information I wanted.
Okay,
I gotta keep working and keep
I
digging.
ask you to leave if you don't settle in. I'll have the police over here if you don't settle in.
He's gonna call the police.
I ask you to read your rules. Jerry, this is a meeting. We're trying to get through things in a peaceful, calm way. You've had your time. I appreciate what you have to say. I will invite you to my office. I've told you this time and again. Come to my office.
Ron, you just denied private
Please, I
conversations
have
we
the
had.
floor right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have the floor. I allowed you to speak. Allow me to speak. I expect you to come to my office and talk to me whenever you want. And I will try to explain everything, how things get paid for. And I appreciate your concern. And we will, I would ask that you come and talk to me so I can explain things for you, along with the people that help me run this place. Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to address the board here tonight? Hearing none, I go on to the assessor's report.
Our revised assessment notices were mailed out from the county on July 28. If there was no change from my office, you would not receive an assessment notice. We did receive a 1.067 multiplier that was put on by the county, but that you wouldn't get notified from that. You still have the right, even if you don't get a notice, to file with the board of review. You have 30 days from July 28th, so they're allowing you till September 5th to file with the board of review. If you need any other information, you can call my office.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. Moving on, we'll go on to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Ron. We had the baby wellness clinic on Thursday, August 10th, I believe that was, and there was 5 people that attended. Every time we have it, it seems to be increasing, so that is a good thing. I don't have the next clinic date, but it usually is every 3 months. The clerk's office has been very busy with FOIA requests, so we've been filling those FOIA requests. And I don't know if everybody else received this notice of a public hearing from Will County. I talked about this last month. This is requested variance for a building property. It is a public hearing. It's going to be August 1st, which is already over. It's 27 at 6:30, so that's over. But I just wanted to tell you that we did receive that, and I'm sure that this is going to just get filed away. No one had any objections to that. So that's all.
All right. Next on the agenda, thank you very much. Oh, before we leave your thing, I put under your, since it's has to do with voting, the approval of the polling place. We had everybody should have had a letter that we received from Nancy Schultz-Woods about maybe making this, opening up this building for a polling place in next year's elections on the primary of March 20th.
So if I could just talk about that for a little bit.
Sure.
So Ron and I both received from the school district across the street that they were no longer going to hold their polling place. So they asked if we would be willing to host that here in our building. And Nancy Schultz has also had a request for another polling place to come in here. So that is Lockport Precinct 17 and Homer Precinct 18. So Nancy did come out to the building. She looked at the site. Of course, she thought it was a wonderful facility, and the multi-purpose rooms would be 2 polling places. There's easy access in and out for voters, and I just need the board's approval for that to happen on these election dates and I attach those election dates. So they need to know that so they can send out the cards to all the people that their polling places have been changed.
Okay, Denise, I just have one question. The polling places close at, is it 6 or 7? 7. And then who would be responsible for closing up the building? Would be my question.
We'll have both an issue of opening the building and closing the building while we're doing the maintenance.
Okay. But it's going to be our responsibility.
Yeah,
to take care of
that is
it.
part of the responsibility.
All right.
I know we had that issue at Central Square also for years. That was a polling place, but the maintenance men always work with them there too, and I believe our maintenance men are pretty favorable with helping me in these situations. So I would ask for an approval from the board. Motion.
I would make the motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney.
I'll second.
Second by Barb Boyce. Can I have a roll call?
Rico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yeah.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Figgis.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Excuse me.
Yes, I will definitely let Nancy's office know tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on, trustees' comments or suggestions tonight. Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? Hearing none, we'll go on to the building report. It's a new part of our agenda. I think we need to have some kind of a update as to what's going on with this building every month. We have the approval of the air conditioning and heating proposal. Last month, we noticed that one of our condensers were out. Now, when we bought this building, we had a company come in through Dewberry. They supposedly did a study to see if the existing systems worked good with the building. Under that contract, they did not, and I was disappointed to find this out. Checked it and see what kind of conditions each function is in. They just did the study of, is that it's going to heat and cool the building. We had enough. That being said, when I called and said, hey, our thing is off, they said, hey, it's not our problem. So we have one air conditioning unit that's out. It's a 5-ton unit. It's pretty much the air conditioning section that does the front section over here upstairs, and I believe Denise's office is involved in that. I was going to go ahead and get it fixed, thinking it was an emergency with the hot weather, but Denise indicated to me that it's been out longer than I was aware of, and you didn't think it was that big of an emergency, so I thought I'd bring it to the
Been
board.
sweating yet.
Yeah. So I brought it to the board, and I did go out and get a proposal from the Johansson and Anderson that did check out our systems. They gave us a bid of $3,490 to replace the compressor.
To repair or to replace?
To replace the whole compressor. But that's not they will replace that in the existing condensing unit. Now, the condensing unit is 20 years old. So it is their opinion, for $41.45, they will give us a new condenser also. So yeah, we're going to do it. We might as well do it all new white, put a new piece in an old unit. That's their opinion. So we have both prices. I also got Amber Bloom to come out, and I asked our maintenance men to give me apples. All they sent me was a quote for $44.97. So I believe we should probably get these fixed. Like I said, it's September now coming up. It's going to get warmer this week, but hey, it's a problem with the building. We got to get it fixed eventually.
How much money do we have in the budget for maintenance on this building?
Well, this would probably come out of renovation.
So we're still adding on to the total amount of the building. Okay.
And we're gonna have renovations, is that in the budget every year, I believe, we want to be doing some renovations in this building. New things. And we have it both in senior and in town. I don't know those numbers right in front of me. I know it's in your packet in the bill lists. But I know they're both have the money in the system. We've got a broken air conditioner. That big one, we got to fix it. Or
I noticed on the bid from Johansson and Anderson, it says there's a defective compressor. So apparently that has nothing to do with the, it's not under warranty.
no, that's a 20-year-old compressor.
Okay, all right. And how many other, these are the only two bids that you
That's the only two
got
bids
on
I
these?
got. Right. I got a second bid when I realized that it wasn't an emergency. Taking a couple of weeks without the air conditioner. Cooled off too, so we're lucky there.
Okay, so this, these two proposals came to the building committee as a whole then? You guys are starting to meet now?
No, we haven't got there. I did ask Dean to come and speak with me and start putting that together, and he hasn't had the time yet to get that together. So I asked our maintenance man to get some bids. I'm sure they're paid prevailing wage, and if they could give us a certified pay rate. These two companies said they can. So, if we want to go ahead and fix the air conditioners, I need a motion to go with Johansson and Anderson since they're the, well, we got to decide if we want to do the whole unit or just the compressor, I guess. My thought would be, again, being that the unit is 20 years old, let's go ahead and get the whole air conditioning unit done. We're going to be here a while. I want to put a 20 compressor into a 20-year-old condenser. I don't know much about air conditioning in the first place, to be honest with you, but it doesn't make sense to me.
So you're making them for which price though? That's what
The 41, 45.
41.45.
And we're the two bids.
So that's the whole air conditioner and installing it?
Yeah, and installing and everything. So that would be my recommendation.
I think that's a pretty good price. That's
Yeah.
with the,
I'll make the motion to go
Okay,
with
motion by Clerk Boyce.
4145 and Johansson and Anderson.
I'll second it.
Got a second by Barb Delaney. Let's do a roll call, please.
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Pickett.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, that passes. Other than that, we'll get into the proposal for the seal coating, old business, but other than that, the building, I know the food pantry contacted me this week, they're going to start, all their permits have been approved by the city, and now they're just starting to get the scheduling put together to start the construction next door. So that's going to be coming up with the building here this month, and we're going to work real close with them to make sure the building stays secure throughout the whole construction. So, other than that, everything's been working pretty good. We're getting a lot of people calling me about renting the place and using the place. We're doing some of that. I got a dance studio that wants to do a benefit here on Saturday, so we talked about that. I go ahead and okayed that with them.
Have you received, or any of the trustees received the request from the church?
I did.
You did?
I forwarded it to Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, the church, they have been, ever since this was approved to rent out, they have been emailing me and
Not real.
to you, and so I'm,
I kind of told them that I would like to wait on that. I don't know if, opening this building every Sunday morning for a church service and would be hard. It would be hard to do it with a maintenance man. It would be, I don't know if I want to become a church. This is a government building. I think that's something that we could maybe, I want to take baby steps. We could do the feeder in here, we could garden in here, we could youth group in here, we got a couple of other people talking about doing it. I don't want to overwhelm and have too much influence.
Would we be able to get them, because I never got any letter.
I just got an email.
And you got an email.
Yeah, and I forwarded it to Ryan.
I thought it went to everybody. Okay, I can forward it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's, I've also had churches ask me about a senior bus. If they can borrow that and pick up people every Sunday morning to read the mass. I'm a little hesitant on letting them do that too. Those are questions we could tackle.
I believe he just really needs an answer, as he's been requesting this since April. So,
Okay, well,
whatever we can do to give him an answer would be nice.
all right. I'll take that. If we go out and put it on the agenda for next month and vote on it and actually do it, you can.
Well, I'd like to see.
I'll send it.
Yeah.
Information next month.
Okay.
Let's put that on the agenda for next month.
That's how we do it.
All right. Next on the agenda, under new business, and I want to apologize, Resolution 2017-5 for Dave Scory. We never did vote on it. We gave it a little credit, but I wanted to vote and officially approve the resolution, so I'll look for a motion to approve Resolution 2017-5.
I'll second.
Did you?
Didn't say anything.
I'm sorry. go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
Next by Barb Boyce, and second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of the resolution? Now that's been read and given away. Roll call.
Alberico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Dickus?
Yes.
All right. Next is on the agenda is our audit. I've asked Dave Meyer to be here from Warner Rogers. Dave, if you want to come up and sit there and kind of go through I've asked everybody to bring their audit. You just want to give us like a quick review of how it works and what it really stands for and what we got here. We can vote on this tonight.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having me out. We had the pleasure of doing the audit for the township for the fiscal year ended February 28th, 2017. And I realize we're into August. The audit's been completed for a while now. This has just happened to be the first time I could be here for the meeting due to scheduling conflicts. Let me first talk about what we do when we do an audit, because people hear the word audit and they really don't understand what the auditors do. One of the things we do is we look at your financial records. So you're required by state law to have an audit done annually. And as auditors, we need something to audit. And so you maintain your accounting transactions in a general ledger system. And so what we do is we get a copy of all your transactions, and then we test the accounting transactions to verify that items were recorded accurately and that the financials, those amounts then flow into the financial statements. And so we are verifying that those amounts are accurate, that appear in the financial statements. We do not test every single transaction. So that's what an audit is not looking at every single transaction. But what it does is it tests. So we look at property taxes, for example, and make sure that you recorded all the taxes that Will County sent you. So we contact Will County and say, how much money did you send Lockport Township? And then we verify that you recorded all of that money and that you accurately put it into the funds that it was supposed to go to. So you've got a levy for the senior fund, general assistance, the town fund, and the road and bridge. So we want to make sure those levy monies got put where they were supposed to go. Another area, for instance, that we look at is cash and investment balances at year end. So we send letters to your banks asking them how much money they have on your behalf, and then we match that to the accounting records that you have to make sure that those compare to one another. We also test payroll. We want to make sure that the people are getting paid what they're supposed to be getting paid. We test the payroll benefits as well, that you're paying money to IMRF and Social Security and for health insurance. We also look at regular bills. Now this year there was a lot of what I would call non-payroll bills because there was a lot of renovation costs. So this year was a little heavier than normal, if you will, on the bill testing. We also look at the water fund as well. And so we test the receipts and disbursements of the water fund and those ending balances. And so that just kind of gives you an overview of what we do. It's not ever, there's a lot of steps involved, but just kind of a general overview. Now, the final product is the financial statements that you have. So these are your financial statements. They're not ours as auditors, but we assist you in preparing them because for you to be able to prepare your own financial statements using governmental accounting, and it's very complex, and to do it only once a year, it's to your benefit to use us to assist you in preparing financial statements and then providing our opinion on the financial statements. So I'll take you through the financial statements. We can look at as many pages as you like. Generally, in a presentation like this, I'll stop at a few different pages and talk about some of the balances. But we can certainly talk. We can go page by page and go through the whole report if you like, or we can start out my way anyway, and then we kind of see where things go. If you open your financial statements, and I have just a printed out copy, but you've got a bound copy. It's got a plastic comb along the edge. And it should say Annual Financial Report, February 28th, 2017. And you'll see it starts out with a table of contents. The first thing you'll see is an introductory section, and that's a list of principal officials, and then also a letter transmittal that was signed by Mr. Alberico and Ms. Mushrow. I'm sorry, Ms. Rochak. Sorry about that. Then you see the, after that there's the financial section, and there's an independent auditor's report that's on page 4 and 5. And you'll see that and I'll hold it's on our letterhead. It says WRDR. And the auditor's report, this is the crux of the audit. This is where we are putting our firm name on the line to say we have audited your financial statements, and they are fairly presented in all material respects. You generally are keeping your books on a cash basis throughout the year, and then accruals, if you will, are recorded at the end. So items that you hadn't paid as of February, but if you owed them as of February, those get included within the audit. Similarly, if you were owed money but hadn't received it yet as of February 28th, that's counted as well. So those are any sort of a transaction that would affect your balances, so that basically if you close your doors on February 28th, this is where you would be, net position-wise, if you will. The section after the independent auditor's report is what's called management's discussion and analysis. And this goes on from page 6 to page 11 and generally compares the current year results with the most recent prior year. So in this case, you've got the February 28th, 2017 balances, and then they're compared to the February 29th, 2016 balances. And so if you didn't want to read the whole report, this would be a nice place to look. This MD&A, Management's Discussion and Analysis, and go through these 6 pages. And this is a required area for any governmental audit, is to have what's called Management's Discussion and Analysis. And it's always going to follow the independent auditor's report. I'm going to move forward now to what's called the Statement of Net Position, and that's on pages 12 and 13. And you'll see there's columns here. One of them, the first column is all of the captions, but then the first column of numbers is called governmental activities, and then the next column is called business type activities, and then you have a total column. Governmental activities, I'll get to in a second. Business type activities, that's the water fund. When we say business type, that means they're charging a fee as opposed to relying on property taxes. They're charging a fee to recover their costs. And so they are part of the what's called business type activities. All the other funds of the township get consolidated into this governmental activities column. So that's your town fund, the G&A, the General Assistance Fund, the Road and Bridge, and the Senior are all combined together into governmental activities. And then we go one step further in the governmental activities, and it includes the capital assets and any long-term debt that you may have. And this is a governmental accounting issue, but this is the correct way of presenting it. So like the new building is included in here, although it's not recorded in your town fund, it's recorded in the governmental activities. And any debts, like the road fund had a couple of loans outstanding for equipment that was purchased. Those will appear in the governmental activities, but not in the road fund itself, because those are long-term liabilities. Again, an accounting issue, but it's done correctly the way it's presented here.
I have a question.
Okay.
On page 12, since you did mention that the business type activities is the water and sewer fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then if you go down to the total current assets in the middle column, about halfway down, so is that in the negative of 122,621?
Yes.
Okay, so the water fund is operating negative as of February 28th.
Well, I wouldn't. We'll go into the water fund in a minute.
Okay.
But like, there's other schedules.
Okay.
The reason it's showing as negative here, you can see that the line just above total current assets is called internal balances, and that negative 515, that's the remainder of the loan that between the water fund and the town fund, the unpaid portion as of February 28, 2017. So in order to make the lawsuit payment, they had to borrow money from the town fund, and so they need to repay it. And they had borrowed 525, and they repaid 10 as of this date. And so that's why it shows up. We could, it's permissible to show this as this internal balance is either as an asset or a liability. Generally, it shows in the asset spot, but it certainly could have been in the liability spot too, and then it would have shown as a negative liability for the governmental activities. But I think this paints a better picture, if you will. Moving on, the statement of activities it's a little confusing when you look at it at first because it starts with expenses. The general idea here is to show expenses and then to offset expenses with any what are called program revenues. If you have charges for services or if you get grants, then you show what the net expense is for each function, and then you recapture any of that with property taxes and other general revenues down below. So this is basically like an income statement, if you will, for the activities. And I don't want to get into too much accounting jargon here and whatnot, but if you have any questions about why this is the way it is, you could certainly get in touch with Ron, and he can get a hold of me, and I can answer any questions now. But I'm saying later on, if something comes to your mind, you're like, how come this is the way it is? Please let me know, and I can certainly answer that. The next page will have a clearer picture of your governmental funds. This is the balance sheet, and now I'm on 16 and 17, and this shows a column, a balance sheet for each of the funds as of February 28th. So you got your general fund, general assistance, road and bridge, senior, and then there's a total. And so you can see the total assets at February 28th were $7.6 million, and they were into the various funds, as you see. You can see there's cash and cash equivalents, there's investments, motor fuel escrow account. That's the money that's being held by Will County for your road fund to be used in the future. Now they had $586,000 of cash, but there were liabilities against it that they haven't relieved yet. So the net, it was actually about 20,000 or so assets above liabilities. So just looking at the asset, you get, oh, we have you have 500,000 cash, but there's liabilities that are part of that accounts payable balance. If you look at the liabilities in the road and bridge, that's 623,000 payable. Part of that is the offset of that motor fuel tax money that's being held by Will County. And you see that all of the funds had positive fund balances at the end of the year. If you look down below, you'll see total fund balance. The general fund had 1.8 million. General assistance, 446,000, road and bridge, 525,000, and senior fund, 1.381 million there. The page right beside it sort of reconciles between the governmental activities and the governmental funds, and as I mentioned before, you see there's entries there for capital assets and long-term debts. Again, any questions on that, let me know. I'm going to move forward to the next page, and this is the page 18 and 19, and this is a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. So this is what happened during the year. The last page, the balance sheet, that was sort of a snapshot. Where were we on February 28th? And this is what happened during the year. So this is all the revenues that came in, and then the expenditures that were paid out, and then you see that the ending fund balances comes out to the same amounts we just looked at on the balance sheet. So for the year, the general fund took in almost 1.7 million, general assistance under 200,000, road and bridge 1.2 million, and the senior fund 418,000, for a total of 3.5 million. And then your expenditures total 4.6 million. So you spent more than you took in. And this one should be no surprise, because you see that line item just above total expenditures right in the middle of the page here, capital outlay. Capital outlay is mainly, not completely, but mainly costs associated with building renovations. And there's also other equipment in here, equipment purchases and whatnot, but a lot of that capital outlay had to go to the renovation costs associated with the building. So you can see just about every fund had an excess, or a deficiency rather, of revenues over expenses. So you had the general fund had a loss of 633,000. General assistance was up 72,000. The road fund in total was down 35,000, and then the senior fund was down 475,000. I'm going to flip the page now to page 20, and now here's a statement of net position for just what's called proprietary fund. That's an accounting term, but this is basically the water. This is the water fund here. This is its balance sheet, and you'll see that total assets here are 1.338 million, and you see that 515,000 is down in the liabilities section. It was shown in the asset section before because accounting rules say you have to balance out those interfunds in one line on the statement of net position, but here it's shown as its own balance sheet. So you see the 515,000 that's due to other funds that's owed to the town fund. And they ended the year with total net position of 779,000. The next page, again, is now basically an income statement for the water fund. So charges, if you look at the revenues, charges for services were 605,000. Operating expenses total were 687,000. So there was an operating loss of 82,000. Basically, that has to do with the depreciation. You see depreciation charges were 149,000. So that's what caused the loss, was depreciating or all of the resources that were used to get the water system in place have been amortized over time. And this is an allocation of this year's amortization of those costs that are included in this year's financial statements. You see there's also some non-operating revenue of interest earnings of $66, And then you see down, just down below that, there's an extraordinary item, lawsuit settlement. This is where the lawsuit is shown, an extraordinary loss of $597,000. So it's not part of regular operations, it was an unusual item, if you will, an extraordinary item, so that's why it's shown down below the line, if you will. So you see the loss for the year for the water fund was $679,000, leaving net position at the end of the year of $779,578.
I just have another quick question.
Oh, of course.
You're talking about the depreciation of what?
The system itself.
The system.
Yes, the infrastructure involved, right, the pipes and pumps and whatnot. Following that, there's a statement of cash flows for the proprietary fund, which is the water fund. And then we go to what's called the notes to the financial statements. And to be in compliance with accounting rules, you have to have notes to your financial statements. And these notes go on from page 23 to page 42. There's notes about accounting policies, cash and investments at the end of the year. There's notes about the capital assets, long-term debt, several pages of notes about the IMRF system. There's notes in here about fund balances, etc. They're all required disclosures because of the transactions you have. You have to disclose those as notes to the financial statements. So it's a lot of reading. By all means, though, these are your financial statements, so feel free to read every word, if you will. But again, required disclosures for the township. After the notes to the financial statements, you'll see there's what's called required supplementary information. And required supplementary information begins on page 43. And this is a budget to actual comparison for the funds that you have. So you see that you've got the town fund, the general assistance, so you have what's been original, you have a column for original budget, final budget, what actually occurred on the budgetary basis, and then whether there was a variance from the budget. And that's shown for all of the funds. Each fund is shown individually on pages 42 through 46. Now that's at a sort of a higher level, and then there's detail, every single line item back in the subsequent pages, beginning on page 50 is where the town fund is, and all of the line items that you maintain in the accounting system are listed here. So if you want to find out what the Central Square rent was, well, it's in there. And then you had to pay Central Square before you moved into this building, so that you had budgeted $85,000. I just jumped forward to page 52. I just picked out a line item. But on page 52, you'll see the budget for Central Square was $85,000, and then you paid $83,046. So you had a positive variance of $1,900. But again, you can go through this and look at all the line items and see where did we end up in relation to our budget for this year. So those are all the, and I won't spend a lot of time on all those schedules. You can certainly look at those on your own. And then after all those budget to actual schedules, there's a couple of what's called other schedules at the end. They're on page 63. Is a schedule of investments owned by the governmental funds. Page 64 has a schedule of assessed valuations, tax rates, extensions, and collections for the last 4 years. So you can see the equalized assessed valuation, and then also what the extensions were. We take a look at that for a second. Again, I'm on page 64. If you look at the assessed valuations, you've actually gone up the last 2 years. A lot of governments only went up the most recent year, but you've gone up 2 years in a row now. And then in 2014, that was the low water mark for several years. I think going back to maybe 2009, you've been going down in value every single year. So now you've had an uptick the last 2 years. And if you look at the tax extensions, these are the actual dollars that you were confirmed by through the county. How much did they levy against all the property you can see that it was $2,686,000 for the most recent year. The year prior, $2,689,000, and the most one prior to that was $2,682,000. So you went up just a hair, if you will, from 14 to 15, and then you actually went down, and that was planned. The township made a planned effort to reduce the tax extension. So you see that was actually carried out by the county here. And you had a lower extension in 16 than you did in 15. And then the last page of the report just shows a schedule of insurance that you had in force during the year. So I know I kind of breezed through it pretty quickly, kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what the funds you have and what an audit is. Any questions about the financial statements? You need any more explanation about audit procedures, audit process, or the balances that you see here?
I don't have any questions about the financial, but is there one in your management letter, in your comments?
Okay, I can move to that document if you like.
Okay, I mean, it's just, basically, the suggestions that you had made, I just wanted to know who is responsible for making the changes. I mean, is it us as a board as a whole, the supervisor, the department, basically, who is responsible?
Okay, so the first, we have a couple of recommendations for improvement, and this is in the, I think it's a stapled document. It's called Management Letter Comments. And the first thing we do is we talk about positive management practices, and I do want to say that, and I try to express to the board, and anytime I give a presentation, is that the staff you have is great. They take the audit very seriously. They provide us with anything, whatever we ask for, they go out of their way and they get whatever we're looking for. And that's not always the case on every audit I'm on. Sometimes people are trying to blow you off and they don't want to be bothered, but the staff really, they're great. We get a lot of our information from Sherry, because she's keeping the general ledger mainly, and then Chris, of course, and just everyone who's involved in the office staff really does a great job, and then down in Denise's department, and we don't bother the assessors too much, but we do get some information from them, and so everyone in the township-wide, John is always great in getting us anything we need to from the road department, and so, hats off to everyone who helped out. But getting back to the recommendations for improvement, we talk about documentation for expenditures, and when we test transactions, we look at credit cards as well and say, do we have a backup for everything that was, spent with a credit card? And the answer is generally yes. We had a couple of outliers where we couldn't tell what was purchased and whatnot. So, and I know Denise does hounds people if they don't have the documentation, and this is an area that's improving. We just want to see it improve all the way. And so, yes, whose responsibility is it? It's collectively everyone's. And I guess it comes to the point where if you don't know how to maintain the documentation for what you use the credit card with, maybe you don't have credit card person. What am I trying to say? Privileges. Thank you. Yes. So I mean that I guess that's what it would have to come down to, is if you don't know how to follow the rules, then you don't get to use the credit card. But we give some recommendations there to have a policy, and maybe the thing is to develop a stringent policy and say this is how we do it, and if you can't do it right, you don't get to use the card.
Well, I guess that's my question, since you just brought that up. Then who creates this policy? The supervisor, or again, the board as a whole?
Well, I guess you could do it however you want. I would say generally, yes, the supervisor would develop it, or the clerk, or any, someone and then it would get approved by the board and say, this is our policy. and certainly there's many examples of policies out there to, you know, take one off the internet, let's say, and then customize it to be your policy. The next area we talk about is the Comprehensive Policies and Procedures Manual, and this is an area that we see a lot in audits, where everyone kind of knows what to do because they've been here, but if they walked out, would the next person who walked in know what to do? And I think that's where you sometimes may leave yourself vulnerable, is if you don't have a manual that describes the processes that you go through on a day-to-day basis. How do we run a payroll? How do we pay the bills? How do we reconcile? Who does this? Who does that kind of thing. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that needs to be looked into, planned, divvy up the work, and start getting a living document going. The next area we talk about here is the capital assets inventory, and this is a great time now that you're in a new building is to get an inventory of what assets you have. Certain things maybe made it through the move or were disposed of before the move. I don't know what happened. You know, old computers that you're not using anymore. Let's take an inventory of what we do have, get it valued, and then we'll know what we have for insurance purposes, and then also for financial reporting purposes, and then add to or subtract from that list as we go. And this is something that hasn't been done in quite some time, and it's our recommendation that you look into taking an inventory and tagging items and getting everything into a system that can be tracked more easily. I believe you might have had a couple of other letters from us too as well. There were letters of communication. Those communication letters are required by auditing standards that we have to issue those letters to you. And they're pretty boilerplate in nature, talking about responsibility for the audit and what we do. I won't read through it. You can certainly read through them. And then one thing we also do is, to the one that's called communication with those charged with governance at the conclusion of the audit, behind that we attach a listing of the entries that were made to the accounting records to create the financial statements. So that if you took your end of the year ledger and then you add to it the entries, then you get what's in the financial statement. So it's kind of an A plus B equals C sort of a thing. And certainly if you have any questions about any entries, we can look into whatever questions you might have. But
Dave, I do have just a comment. I know a lot of residents and other people are maybe confused by what a financial statement is and what an audit is. And, you know, every year at our annual town meeting, we present the financial statement for the township. And that's sometimes where the confusion comes in. And if you could just, you know, I know you're going through this right now, it's night and day, the financial statement and the audit. But if you could just really quickly.
Well, if you're preparing or giving out financial statements that are straight out of the accounting system, they've not been adjusted to include what I mentioned before as accruals. Okay, so and then also when we do these accruals, they affect more than just the revenues and the expenses. They also hit the balance sheet as well. So you may have cash balance. The cash balances won't change, but receivables, amounts owed to the township, are going to show as assets. And payables, like we were talking before about the motor fuel payable and the motor fuel asset that you have, those are things that are not going to be in your accounting system because those are not part of your everyday cash and investment balances. And you're not spending those monies on an everyday basis. And so that's where this difference comes in, is the difference in accounting, if you will, from cash basis, which is how you're maintaining the books throughout the year, and then accrual basis, which is what the financial statements are on. Does that help explain it?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions for the audit? For Dave? Hearing none, Dave, I really appreciate you coming out this year, going through it with us. And, I think we've never really done that too much before, in years. I think it's a new thing we should probably do every year. They've come through here to explain it.
Yeah, and the more it happens, I think the more you'll kind of get it, if you will. First time through, I get it. There's a lot of numbers here. There's a lot of accounting rules, and you almost need to be a CPA, if you will, to get it that first time through. But once you start seeing things over and over, and again, if you have any questions like Denise had, where, well, why is this different from, we saw all these numbers year round throughout the year, and this is really the 12 months of treasurer's reports and all, everything that happened and everything that was approved at all the meetings, they're all in here. And then we go that step further with the approving of receivables and payables. And then you got to think of each of the funds. They're all separated. They're all there for special reasons. So the senior fund is only there for senior purposes, and you only spend that money on senior things. Road and bridge, same thing. It's restricted for road and bridge. You got general assistance, restricted for general assistance. The town fund is like the catch-all, and then you have the water fund off to the side, and that's all. The only thing that goes through the water fund is its own revenues, paid for its own expenses, and you're not doing any sharing there, with the exception of this loan that was created to help the water fund pay the lawsuit. But yes, it's restricted to itself, and you're not commingling tax dollars with water dollars. They're separately maintained, based on our audit and what we've seen. So, we haven't seen any commingling, if you will. So,
thank you very much.
I have one more question.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Is this an easy file that we can get it on our website? Is this something that...
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we can, I can send you a PDF document.
Okay, great.
And then, I guess one more thing just to complete, if you will. There is one more report that is not done yet for February, for this audit, and it's the Illinois Comptroller has a special form that has to get filled out annually. And so these numbers that you see here get carried into the Comptroller's report. That report's not available yet, the 2017 version. So when it is, we'll get that completed and filed. But if you went on their website right now, you wouldn't see it yet until they have that form available for usage.
Comptroller's office.
The Comptroller's office, right, yeah. They've been late the last couple of years. I think, I don't think it was ready last year until very late August, maybe early September. So I would probably look for that to happen again this year.
So I did talk to the bookkeeper. She says she's going to publish everything by the end of, after 6 months after the fiscal year, we're supposed to publish it.
Right.
But we're waiting on this Comptroller, so we're going to go ahead and publish it.
Yes, I would suggest that. It's a good idea.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I would ask for a motion to pass the audit for this year. Approve the audit.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barbara Delaney,
Second.
second by Barbara Boyce. Can I have a roll call, please?
Rico.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
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 All right. Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, thank you. I did receive, where I'm supposed to be here, memorandum of understanding that we have between Will County Community Concerns and township government. We've had this through the years. They do an outreach with this really doesn't have to do with it. It's just that this is an understanding that we work with Will County Community Concerns, that we don't duplicate what they do, and they don't duplicate it to give them assistance.
So that's all this really says.
Yeah, basically. And we've been working together with them. The only, and I will contact them before I sign this and approve this, the only mistake they have is the address. They have it still at 222, yeah. So I will correct that if this passes. So I would make a motion. I would ask for a motion to approve the Will County Memorandum of Understanding.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Barbara Delaney,
I'll second.
and a second by Dean Morelli. Any other questions of it? Have a roll call, please.
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Moving on. I have Romeoville Chamber of Commerce contacted me to do a donation or play golf at their annual golf outing. This is their 10th annual golf outing. Last year we did a whole sponsor. I think it was $200, if I'm not mistaken. 125. Whole sponsor, 125. We did do it last year. We did support Lockport's Chamber of Commerce last month with their ad book. It's up to the board here if we want to do this or not, but if we do, I think a whole sponsor would be what we did last year.
I would make the motion to keep it as the same as last year.
Last year, a whole sponsor. Okay, I got a motion for the whole sponsor.
I'll second.
Second by Barbara Boyce. Let's have a roll call, please.
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
All right. Yes, thank you very much. Next on the agenda, the township officials of Illinois are having their annual conference, educational conference down in Springfield on November 12th through the 14th. We as a township usually go down there every year. I'm going to entertain a motion to send up to 12 people. I already have a few people that aren't going to go, so I know we won't be sending 12. What we usually do is all 9 elected officials are welcome to go. It's a very educational thing, especially for the new trustees, but I understand if you can't make it. But we also send Denise's office. Once in a while, we'll send somebody from their office, somebody from my office, and somebody from Debbie's office. So that comes to 12. Like I said, I don't believe all 12, but I think just to get things going and get the reservations set, I need to know whether you're going to go or not relatively soon. I did bring this up last month, or to people that I need to know right away because of the reservations at the hotel, who can make it and who can't. So, but I do need a motion to move up to 12 people to attend the conference.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barbara Delaney,
I'll second.
second by Barbara Boyce. All right, any other questions of the motion? Okay. Hearing none, let's have a roll call, please.
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. One more thing, just informational purposes tonight. I want to make sure everybody's aware of this. Our water board meeting, which would be third or the fourth Monday of the month, is going to be moved this month. We are having an issue with a couple of trustees that stepped down. We have to have a quorum of the 3 remaining trustees there. I am going to be out of town on that Monday, so we're going to move it to the Friday. The meeting will be Friday, August 25th, 10 a.m. in my office of the supervisor. It's open to the public. Anybody's welcome to come to it. But I do want to make sure we post it on the doors like we always do, but the meeting will be on Friday instead of the following Monday. Other than that, going into old business, approval of the seal coating. We kicked this can down about 2 months ago. We wanted to get new bids, so everybody was apples to apples. I know the first time through, one guy said he'd do this, one guy said he'd do that. We wanted to get everything on the same page. We did get 4 bids. I think the low bid comes out by Tom's Asphalt Service of $11,949.84.
I just have a question in regards to the bidding process. I had asked if I could see basically the specs and the map that were provided to the contractors. We were basically just given a map. There's really no specifications. Again, when I go through these bids, there's a total of 5 of them. Only 2 of them seem to pretty be comparing apples to apples, so to speak.
Actually, Mr. Victus and I put this scope of work together. We brought it to all 4. I think there's 4 bids. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 bids. One of the bids, I think, what you're confused is Rhino seal coating. All they do is the seal coating, they don't do the patching. So they got a bid from another company to do the patching. So the job would be the combination of both.
I see, okay, I was counting them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'd be the $8,822 plus the $3,336.
Okay, so the contractors all just received the map, or they also received specifications?
They all came here, the maintenance men went through everything with them, they go, this is the crack we want to fill, this is what we want done, step by step. This and I walk through.
Okay. So you're making a motion to...
So if you look at all of them all, I think Town's Asphalt Service from Plainfield is the low bidder, so I would entertain a motion to accept their bid.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Barb Delaney to accept the Town's Asphalt Service.
I'll second it.
I got a second by Barbara Boyce. Any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Rico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on, I will go ahead and release those, get a hold of them tomorrow. That way we can get started on that. I did put in your packets today because the meeting is later this time of the month, I usually get this report from Clark Mosquito after our meeting. That's why I usually put it in, but I got it early since the meeting's so late this month. It just gives you a rundown of what is going on as far as we have a contract with Clark Mosquito, spray out areas that we need to spray every month. What's going on? Will County did get their first, where did I read that? Positive what's now virus human case was reported on July 20th in Will County. So I would just reach out to the audience that is watching this tonight that try not to get any tires or water laying around. That's where the mosquitoes reduce themselves there and standing water, try to clean up your areas. So, because what's not what's coming around? They got Zika coming around too. I know it's not up in Will County yet. But anyway, that's just for your information. Moving on to meetings and correspondence. I did get a notice of an annexation from Romeoville. It's basically, where did I read that? Point. It's not even an acre they're going to annex it into the city of Romeoville. One parcel of real estate, approximately 0.06 acres, situated on the north side of Rock Road, east of Illinois 53 in unincorporated Lockport Township, Illinois. The notice is hereby given that the corporate authorities of the village of Romeoville will consider the annexation of the property referred to at 335 Independence Parcel 2 on Wednesday, August 16th. That's this coming Wednesday at 6 o'clock in Romeo Village Hall. So if anybody wants to attend that and find out exactly what they're doing, I would suggest that you go to that meeting. I did get a thank you from CASA. Everybody remember Rita Pacino was here last month and spoke. She did send me a thank you. I remember last month she brought up the fact that we used the bus for their senior, for their Christmas thing last year, to people on the train to their different facilities that they were doing. They asked to do that again. I will bring that to the board. I think it's a nice thing for CASA to do. I would like to do that again. So, but they did send me a thank you from last year. The other thing, I did get a thank you last year. I don't know, some of the older board members may remember that Northern Illinois Food Bank did approach us about doing a donation to what they wanted to do is build a new South Suburban Center here in Will County. This is just a letter that they finally reached their goal. They are going to do it. They thanked us for our donation last year. So Will County is going to have a food bank distributor in this area. I think it's location is in Joliet. They're just finalizing the lease. It's 18,000 square foot. It's close to Interstate 80 and 55, so they'll be able to get to the different food banks in our area a lot quicker and easier. So that's good. I have nothing else. In an executive session, I'm going to ask that we go into an executive session now. It's only going to, I don't believe it's going to take us a long time. We're going to adjourn this meeting. You guys are welcome to stay. It should only take us a little bit. We'll go into the other room, have our executive session, come back out here and continue with the other meetings. So I would need a motion to adjourn this meeting. For purposes of executive minutes, the release of old minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to go out of regular session. Second. I got a second by Barb Boyce. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we can, this meeting is temporarily adjourned for a minute. We'll go in there. We'll open up the executive session, and we'll continue. All right. Are you all set? I'd like to bring this a motion to entertain a motion to go back into session.
I make a motion to go back to regular session.
I have a motion by Greg Fitness,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, we have to introduce, can we just do another roll call?
No, you do another introduction.
We did that. I need everybody at the table here to state their name and their position.
Greg Mickus, Lockport Township Trustee.
Barb Delaney, Lockport Township Trustee.
Deb Mason, assessor.
Ryan Alberico, supervisor.
Denise Rumcheck, clerk.
John Solonski, Highway Commissioner.
Barb Boyce, trustee.
Dean Morelli, Trustee. Gary Miller, Precinit Township. All those who were in executive session are back out here in regular session.
All right, thank you very much. All right, now I need a motion to, I guess, how I say this, to release the minutes of the executive session of February 22nd, 2017. Motion by Barbara.
I'll second.
Second by Dean. Let's have a roll call.
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Abstain.
Fickus,
Abstain.
All right, thank you very much. Motion carries. I have nothing else in the town fund. This has been a long town fund meeting, but I would ask for an adjournment.
Make a motion.
I got a motion by Barbara, Boyce.
Second.
Second by Barbara Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving on to the road and bridge. John, you're getting tired late night.
Hungry.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Surpass the pledge since we did that, and the roll call since we did that. Everybody in their packet should have received the minutes of the monthly meeting of July 10th, 2017. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I need a motion by Barbara Boyce.
Second.
Second by Barbara Delaney. All right, any questions of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. You have the bills of $95,784.66. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make the motion.
I got a motion by Barbara Boyce.
Second.
Second by Barbara Delaney. Any questions of the bills for the highway? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Pickens?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Any citizens here wishing to address the board for the highway department tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to John's report.
Thank you very much. I'll make it very quick. We've been here long. The big news, I think, was that storm that we had. It took us about a week to clean up all the branches, and the guys did a nice job. Summertime is when all the vacations happen at the highway department, because the guys aren't allowed to go on vacation in the wintertime because of the snow, possible snow. They can take a vacation, they just can't leave the area. So we've been a little bit short-handed this month, but the guys are still getting the work done. They're working hard, so I don't know what else to say. I do have some seasonal helpers that have been with the highway department for several years, that this is their last year, so I wish them well. One of them, I think I have to call the doctor. He finished school and is now officially a doctor, passed his boards. So that's great for him. A little intimidating for me. Young kid, I got to call a doctor, but that's awesome stuff. And I'm glad that the highway department all those years have been able to help him through summer work. And that was even before I got there. I mean, just great kids.
This doctor doesn't want to plow snow?
No, actually, no. He's on his way to getting married. I mean, his life is heading right down the path of doom. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's terrible. He's a great kid. His brother, I understand, is also going to be a doctor in the same field, so that's some proud parents there. Other than that, the guys are continuing. We've been doing a lot of culverts, so we're going to probably hold up on some culverts here. I know we're behind on those, but we got to do some hot patching as well before the time comes for winter. What else? I think other than that, that's probably good enough for this month. I think everybody wants to go home. Things are going well. So.
I have no other business. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? Hearing none, I would call for an adjournment.
Motion.
I got a motion by Barbara Boyce.
Second.
Second by Barbara Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving on to the general assistance. Again, you have the minutes of the July 10th, 2017 meeting. I do need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Barbara Delaney.
I'll second.
Second by Barbara Boyce. Any questions of the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. You have the bills of $14,049.67. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Barbara Boyce and a second by Barbara Delaney. You're good for those names. Any questions of the bills?
Again, I'm just looking at our admin costs are just
87% of the general assistance fund goes to admin. It seems like we have a lot of admin for this fund.
You're right.
I know it's approved, it's in the budget, but it's
I have it,
things I gotta put now.
I have a lady that does the general assistance, I got to pay her. She's been there 90 years. Hospitalization, dental, the administration got to pay those bills.
Well, one of the expenses this time too was the audit, correct? That's the 5,200.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's annually, right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, any other questions on the bills? And then can I have a roll call, please?
Rico.
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Pickett.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Any citizens wishing to address the board for the general assistance fund?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Terry Broaders, resident, activist, business owner. I have a couple questions. I'd like to add one question that was asked last month by Mr. Bickus. How much exactly was given away this month? And it's kind of a common question. Is it included in the 14,000 or is it in addition to the 14,000?
Can I answer this one?
Yeah, it's 485,000.
My estimates of putting in all the rent that's been paid, I'm assuming that water is given away to the residents, or I included that in money's given away. The utilities, I put in as money's given away. And the Remco medical as money's given away. 1829 was monies that were outlaid, if I'm correct in classification of those. And the remaining was administration costs.
So we were...
87% is administration, 13% for assistance.
So this 14,000 includes the amount given out plus the
Correct.
cost they give it out. So you said the amount this time around was $1,829?
Is the amount. If all those are
No.
expenses,
Right. A couple more questions on that. Last month we were at 11,000 and some odd dollars. Well, I don't understand the big increase because last month we gave about $1,800 away. There's a $3,000 difference in 1 month.
Terry, Art Delaney just said that the audit is $5,000, and that's for 1 year, once a year, so that's why this one's higher.
So they divide the audit amongst all 5 entities?
Okay.
Okay.
And that's why this month.
So the senior fund gets charged, the assistant fund gets charged, the town fund gets charged. So you're saying the audit company charges X amount per entity, and the lawyer said maybe not.
Understand that.
That is it, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So that additional over the 11,000 more or less average, and this addition shows the audit. Thank you very much, Steve. Ron, I got two other questions here. Actually, one other question. Last month in the fund, we talked about, we were talking about the $1,800 given away, and there was never a firm list of things that this fund could be used for. Now, I've heard Greg just read off of 5, 6 different things. But one of them, last month, one of them was garbage. You pay for garbage. And I'd hate to think that garbage pay was used in a neighborhood where we're trying to get garbage put on a water bill. In fact, the conversation we had maybe 2 months ago about a garbage behind a house that somewhere you knew. Is that the bill we pay garbage for, pickup? Are we paying garbage pickup by the assistant fund?
If somebody qualifies for general assistance, again, I don't want to give no question to answer. You have your 3 minutes to talk, and we'll, allow you to do that. But I will answer that question. Person who qualifies for general assistance, the qualification gives them X amount of dollars. Now, how they want to spend that X amount of dollars, if they want it on their garbage pickup bill, if they want it on their water bill, if they want it on their electric bill, on their rent bill, on gas for their car, on food to eat, they make that decision, and we give them X amount of dollars
They're only allowed to get X amount per month.
per month.
One time per month, or you hand it out one per month?
If they qualify every month, they come in every month.
Okay.
If they qualify, then we have to give them money.
So there's no limitation on what they can spend the assistance fund, or the assistance
Well,
money
there's some
for? There's no
limitations. I mean,
limitations on that?
we give them food
You
cards
certainly
that
don't
don't
want
include.
Buy alcohol or cigarettes, right?
Right, we ask them, we can't police that. We give them a gift card, but we let them.
Is there laws on that part? I mean, I know there's gotta be some laws that
But I
just
can't
follow.
we can't go to the store with them. We
Right.
give them a gift
Well,
card.
couldn't you
We
give
ask
them a
the
gift
store,
card from
after
Jewel?
that, if you want me to give you an answer, you gotta quit interrupting me, all right? We give them a gift card from either Burcott's here in Lockport if they're on this side of the river, or Food for Less over on the other side of the river. We ask them not to allow them to get cigarettes, alcohol, it's for food. We can't go shopping with them. I don't have that time to go with them.
Right.
But we ask the stores to police that.
Now, if you were, for example, if you're gonna pay a garbage bill, how do you give them the money to pay that garbage
We
bill?
pay the garbage company directly.
So in other words, does each individual get a certain amount of money they can possibly get? Or
Yes.
okay, so nobody can get more than the other person?
Right.
It's a flat.
Depends on, no, it depends on how many kids are in the family.
Okay,
You know,
sure,
You know, if they get a lot of kids, then they get a little bit more money. It's a set.
So it's kind of like based on
Set
state
by the
size of
state,
welfare,
yeah.
then, where, you know, the bigger the family, the more money available. Makes sense.
Right.
Did you say 87%, Fred?
Correct.
Thank you. 87% to spend $1,800. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. I have no other business. You do have a financial aid report breakdown again for the month. Who how many we gave out. 5 re-qualified. We have 5 on general assistance right now for this month. We have a breakdown of what we gave out this month. 3 housing, 2 gas, 2 electric, 2 water, no garbage, no medication, 3 fuel, and this gives you the balance of what cards we got left. Food, we gave no food out, the balance is the cards. Have any questions? Hearing none, I have nothing else. I would ask for an adjournment. I got a motion by Barb Boyce.
Second.
Second by Barb Delaney. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to our senior fund. Again, we have the minutes of the July 10th, 2017 meeting. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney.
Second.
Second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of the minutes for the senior fund for last month? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. You have the bills of $20,165.99. I need a motion to pay the bills. And I want to let you know this is a corrected bill list that originally was sent out in the email. There is our bookkeeper, again, was hospitalized, so our other secretary did the best she could. There was a couple of little mistakes she made. Jerry put it back together today and got it corrected. Actually, it's a little lower than what was sent out. There's a couple of mistakes made on the other one. So the bills to be approved are $20,165.99. I believe everybody has the corrected, or the bill list, the correct bill list in their packet. So I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barbara Delaney,
I'll second.
second by Barbara Boyce. Any questions of bills?
You know, last month I did ask for, if we could take a look at the Sprint bill and see if it did go to, it's kind of cut in half. The Sprint bill has been cut in half from last month. Did we lose it? Did we reassess that?
The Sprint bill?
Yes.
You know,
Last month it was like 460.
I'd have to ask Michelle as to to why that bill.
I did not ask to have that, to see that bill, to see why we were paying so much for 2 cell phones.
All right, I can answer. Give you a copy of the bill.
Yeah, just, if you can send that over, please.
I just have a question for the bills to be approved. The one for Rendell's for the repair for bus number 2, for $31.50. I thought the breakdown last time it was discussed that bus was the repair was like in the thousands.
We did, I'm not sure, this is the bill that just came, we had some minor brake work done, I think, over there. To be honest with you, it was a cheap one. We spent almost $10,000 on repairing
First bus.
the first bus.
Okay, so this second bus, the only amount of the repair was for $31.50
Right,
then?
that's
Okay.
right now. But I will tell you this, we have a bus, we did approve during the workshop to go ahead and start the rental system, and we did the 2 new buses. I'm looking forward to that. The order is in, they're building the buses as we speak. They're not coming in as quickly as what they said because we delayed it. We didn't approve it in the meeting. We waited a couple of weeks till the workshop, and because of that, they said, well, we missed that window. Now it's going to be November 1st, I believe, about the speaker. We have a bus that is showing the same problems that we had with the other bus, with the $10,000 bill to fix it. So I have the bus copies now. I don't want to, when these buses get turned in, I want to be able to have them in running condition, otherwise we don't get the money. So it's parked, it's running, it's good, but if we run it, the computer's saying it's got about 31 miles, it's worth at the time. So I'm renting the van for the remainder of the time, so we can turn that bus in and get the money that we promised. So,
When's the next shingle shot?
right now, we don't have a date set. We're taking it as they call, and we're setting it up. There is still money in the shingle shot line item. We are still getting calls, but I hesitate to make a big announcement because then we'll get overrun and we'll run out of money really quick.
Who performs that service for us?
Walgreens.
Walgreens does.
Okay, where was I? Did we do the bills? We didn't have a roll call. Any other questions of the bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Pecos?
Yes.
All right. Any citizens wishing to address the senior fund tonight? Hearing none?
Ron, real quick, if I may. I wanted to add something to the buses. I was in Frankfurt just recently on this bus situation. I was in Frankfurt just recently working with John, or Mike from the food bank here. We were doing a conjunction thing. And what I learned from him is that their township is invested in minivans that have senior access or handicap access. Now, he said that vans cost him about $50,000. I think he had the caravan ones. He bought 2 or 3 of them. And then he told me New Lenox is doing the same thing. So I don't know if it makes any sense. How many people at a time are we picking up? Do we need the big bus, or could you do 1 big bus and maybe 2 small vans? I don't know, maybe to help out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've discussed that a lot of different times, a lot of different ways. We're picking up anywhere, and Greg, you had asked last month for a list of how many rides each day, so I did pull this out for you to give you tonight. You did get this in your paperwork when we, for the workshop too, though. I don't know if you noticed, it tells you how many people we pick up every day. But the issue with the vans is our senior, it's harder on our seniors to get them in and out, basically. It's for their comfort. Buses, right now with the vans, if you have a person in a walker and a person in a wheelchair, you know, you get the person in a wheelchair, you gotta take the walker off, take the wheelchair off, she's gotta stand on the side, you gotta take the, you know,
You guys have
put it
put
back
on
on,
it.
you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And you gotta duck your head, make sure you don't hit their heads, and it's harder to get into, basically.
Okay. What about the pickups? How many on average a day do you do?
It changes from,
What would you call it, average?
sleep, 7.5.
In one day?
29 passengers, 30 passengers the next day, 27 passengers the next day.
Are they
18
allowed
on
to-
Monday.
Are they ever allowed to like schedule a group pickup, like if they were all gonna come from a senior's housing, could they get a group pickup to Walmart or something? Do they do it like that sometimes?
Sure.
Yeah.
We've had seniors from the Silver and Gold Club go to the senior event in Roman before.
Okay. But I just thought I'd offer that information, and like I said, the Lennox files shoot after Frankfurt. I don't know, maybe they didn't do the same research you did, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. All right. Moving on, I have no other business other than, I did want to tell you about the bus riders. And this is, if you want me to, I guess I could put this in your packet every month too. I'm trying to keep the packets down so we don't have a suitcase full of paperwork every month. But anyway, this is always in the office. So if you have any questions, you're welcome. I keep on asking you guys anytime. You're welcome to come to the office and ask any information. I'd be open to it. So, other than that, I have nothing else tonight. Quick meeting. I would ask for an adjournment.
Make that motion.
I got a motion by Bartolini. I got
Greg, second.
Oh, Greg? I got a motion by all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. And you have a wonderful week. Thank you.